Welcome to my Accent is No Accident podcast. I'm your host, Maritza Perez. Our guest today is the reality interventionist. His name? Shiraz Baboo. Shiraz Baboo is a multi award author, international speaker, and reality interventionist. He is known for helping people to rewrite their reality and overcome challenges in their lives. Shiraz has helped thousands of people to overcome illness, poverty, and unconscious addicted struggles. Overall, he is a renowned personality in the area of reality addiction, and his book, How to Rewrite Reality, has changed lives across the globe. Welcome, Shiraz. It is
Thank
an
you,
honor
Maria.
to have you. It is super an honor to have you today with us.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
So, I would like to, before we start with our interview and our conversation, ask you, what is your accent and why is not an accident?
So my accent is quite a weird kind of story because my parents were South African. So we grew up with that accent in the household, but we grew up in Canada. So it was just slightly there, but people could tell I couldn't tell. I thought I had a Canadian accent. And as I grew up, I noticed my dad would use this speech machine where he would say things and hear it back to train himself to speak better and enunciate more. And I decided, oh, that would be a good thing. I was only like 17 at the time, but I realized I didn't like the sound of my laugh. I didn't like the way I said a few things. So I started to purposely speak in a specific way. And then I started to travel, and I lived in Australia for a while, and I was starting to get influenced by that accent. I lived in Japan for a while. And I remember one year I was actually speaking with a linguist, and she's like, "Where the hell are you from?" Because I'm picking up all these little things. And I told her the story, and she goes, "Okay, that makes sense because I can hear the slight Australian. I can hear how you're saying things slightly different than other people, but not according to an accent." And I'm like, "Because that's intentional."
Yes.
And so it was basically purposefully deciding how I wanted to speak. So
Oh, incredible. I love that. So
thank you.
your accent is authenticity.
Yes.
I love that. So I just bought your book,
Mhm.
How to Rewrite Reality.
Thank you.
And I started reading the introduction, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this book! I'm gonna eat this book in 2 days." I love the way you put together things about reality and how we perceive reality versus what we are unconsciously telling ourselves.
Yes.
So, how are we affecting our success according to how we see reality?
We are taught certain things by our parents, by our family, by our teachers, and then we live in a world bound by those rules. And you don't even realize you're doing it. And when you try to create success, if it crosses those rules, then you stop yourself before you can create any major success. Right? And the thing is, when it happens, you don't realize you've crossed the line and now you're trying to self-correct. You just think this is just what's happening in life. So for instance, if you've been in a situation where you're building your business and you're seeing more and more success, and then you lose it, like suddenly clients aren't showing up, or it's unexpected bills come up, and your income comes down, or an event you're going to gets canceled, whatever it is. That's not life. That's you causing those circumstances to show up in your life so you can come back down to where you're supposed to be according to everything you've been taught. And so you'll get these yo-yo results in your life, but it's just course correction.
And that is amazing because the way you explain it makes so much more sense
Mhm.
than telling somebody they have lied to you, and then like, why people are telling me that they lied to me? But you're telling me, no, you created yourself boundaries,
Yeah,
and then that is the programmation that people are talking about. You are being programmed in a certain way, but it's really just there are boundaries that really don't exist, but you created them.
yeah. So 98% of the rules you're living your life by come from other people, mostly your family.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, if you want to make more money, right? Most people say, I'd love to make a lot more money, but they don't. And they don't know that they don't. Right. So, for instance, if you were brought up saying, with someone saying it's better to give than receive, well, then you have to be giving more than receiving. How are you supposed to accumulate wealth if you're supposed to be giving more than receiving? So, when you start to accumulate a lot of wealth, your mind is going, this is not what we're taught. You're being bad. Get rid of it. So you'll find ways to
Yes.
give it away, right? And if you were taught that rich people are jerks and they take advantage of poor people, then the more money you get, the closer you become to identifying yourself as a rich person, which means you might become a jerk. So then you're like, get rid of the money. Let's get rid of it. I don't want to be that person,
Uh,
right? Another thing that people say a lot is you have to work hard to succeed.
yeah.
Let's say you're working hard right now and you're not making that much money. How much harder would you have to work to make all that money? So your mind's like, I'm not going to work that hard. Let's stay right here where we know we can handle it. And you can have one or two or 100 reasons why it's horrible to make lots of money, and you don't even know it, right? So you're just frustrated going, why can't I make the money? I'm trying everything I can. And it's not what you're doing, it's who you're being.
Okay. So you're stopping yourself, not only with your thoughts,
Mhm.
but basically is kind of like a framework
Yes.
that you created because that's what you have always known. There is
Yeah.
nothing else. So
Yes.
how can we change this?
So you have to get that everything that's showing up in your life is because you wanted to.
Okay.
So instead of why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? You want to say, what what do I love about this? What's the benefit I'm not seeing? Or what horrible thing will happen if it changes? So like for the money, what horrible thing will happen? Oh, people might come up and start asking me for money all the time if I have lots of it. Can I have some? Can you give to my business? Can you give to my charity? Can you take care of me? And you're like, I don't want to have those conversations. That's the horrible thing. So let's just stay right there. Uh,
Yes.
the benefit could be like immediate benefits is if, let's say you said, Shiraz, come on, let's go and see a clown performance. And I'm like, I don't want to go watch a clown, but I don't want to say, no, Maritza, I don't want to go do that. I could say, I'm sorry, I can't afford that. So I've
Yes.
got this excuse in my back pocket to use because I don't have a lot of money.
All right.
Right? So that's the immediate benefit. So those are the reasons we stay here. And then you start to see the world through the filter of your beliefs. So there could be a job that would make you a lot more money, and your filter goes, oh, I'll never get hired for that. I'm not even going to apply. And if you had
Exactly.
applied, yeah, you would have got it if you applied.
So this filter is not real. Is this filter is created in your mind.
Yes.
And it probably was not even the intention of the person that taught you to be that way, but it's the way you perceived it.
So the person that taught you, the two reasons that you get taught things by people is number one, to keep you safe, because they went through some stuff and they figured out, oh, if I teach my kid this, it'll keep them safe, even though all it does is limit them. The other reason they may teach it, and this is if you don't have the best parents, is if they're trying to control you. And if I tell them this, I can have control of them and they won't make a fuss. It'll be easier to raise them. Right. And so those are the two reasons you get taught things.
Yes. Control and fear,
Yeah.
which at the end both are fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both come from fear. Okay.
Yeah.
Because When a parent wants to control you, it's because they are afraid that something bad is going to happen to you,
or something bad is going to happen to them.
or
I've,
something bad is going to
yep,
happen.
I've seen
Yes.
parents that are afraid that their kids would be in the spotlight too much, or, or just they'd be more capable and outdo them, but they already feel small. It's like, I don't want my kid outdoing me, so I'll keep it small. These aren't the best parents, but even the best parents like to try to keep their kids safe, fit in, make sure everyone likes you. And no, how can you be you if you're trying to fit in?
Yes. Yes. That is beautiful. So that was one of the questions that I wanted to ask you today. So how parents of today can prevent to make those realities for our kids.
So stop trying to keep your kids safe. And I know that
Okay.
seems counterintuitive to a parent. Awareness is way more powerful than safety.
Okay.
Okay? In safety, if someone has to stay safe, that's implied that there's danger. And
Okay.
so when you have a situation where I have to be safe, you have to actually pull into your world reasons to justify being safe. So you have to pull in danger. It may not happen
Okay.
directly to you. It may happen to people around you, and you see, oh my God, it happened to them. It's happened to them. I have to stay safe. But it may happen directly to you. So that was a bad situation. Even more reason to stay safe.
Exactly.
Now, when
So
you, yep.
wow, that this is beautiful because I have a teenager, and
Mhm.
you're telling me she's a 17-year-old girl, so you're like, oh my goodness, with all the things that are happening in the world, instead of telling them be careful, just be aware
Be aware.
of your surroundings.
Yeah. Because with awareness, you're just looking at what's going on. And then if something has the potential of becoming dangerous, you'll have the awareness like that could be a problem, and you can course correct, whether it's in conversations where you're being like whatever it is. And so long before a danger becomes a danger, you're out of the way. Right. So
Yes.
for me, it's like I used to drive safely. That was how I was taught in the school I went to, and it sounded really good. Now I drive with awareness, and with awareness, I'm relaxed. When I was safe, I'm like, "Where's the danger? Where's the danger? Where's the danger?" Keep looking, keep scanning for the danger. Now it's just like, what's going on the road, and you get to a point where it's almost precognitive. So like there's times where I'm driving and I something in my awareness says that car is about to cut through all the lanes to get to the exit. I don't know how I know, I just know, but that's what happens when you practice awareness. And so then I just
Yes.
slow down. I'm never in any danger. I know because it's about to happen, and then I just watch it happen.
Okay.
Okay, awareness helped me. Thank you so much.
Yes, exactly. So that is like, for instance, something that it will prevent people from having the fear to speak in public,
Yes,
having the fear of making new friends, society or social environments. Because as soon as you're aware, you know who who to talk to and who
yes.
not to talk to.
Yeah, you'll just get that feeling.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
amazing. This is beautiful because one of the things that I told my daughter, and I'm gonna pat myself, told my daughter since she was little, is
Mhm.
like, make many friends. You not only have one friend, you have many.
Mhm.
The best friend you will ever have is yourself.
Mhm.
So if someone doesn't want to play with you today, say, okay, and go and play with somebody else. The
Yep.
same thing if you don't want to play with them today, you say, I'm okay. I'm not going to play with you. I'm playing with them or with
Yes.
so and so, and be okay with it. Be beautiful about it, but don't be judgy. And then she has been very, very independent that way.
Good.
Yes, it's something that my mother taught me, and but it was more of like, we're the pack, so
Mhm.
this is the safe place where my mom came from. But
Yes.
with my daughter, I translated it a little different, so it was not like all you have is us. No, it's like, no, reality is all you have is you.
Yeah. The other thing I would recommend parents teach their kids and also start doing themselves is there's actually a chapter in How to Rewrite Reality when we talk about trust. And
Okay.
I've found the way most people do trust is they hear what that person says and then trust them to be the person they just said they were. Right? Also, they want the person to be a certain way. So they say, I'm going to trust you to do this. And and you end up with conversations like, okay, I've asked you twice now and you didn't do it. Can I trust you to do it this time? And for me, it's just like, well, no, they've shown you who they are 2 times already. And now you're asking them not to be themselves, right? And saying that's trust, in that trust is only if they stop being who they are for your sake. When you flip it around and saying, I'm just going to let them show me who they are, right? Less with their words and more with their actions, then I can trust them to be that person.
Okay.
Despite all else, I'm going to trust them to be, because it's just like when you take it to extreme, it becomes obvious. If you have a brother and he's a gambling addict and you have $10,000 and you need to get it to the bank, do you trust him to take that money to the bank? No, right? You would never say, look, here, this is hard-earned money. Please take it to the bank and deposit for me. No, you'd be like, here's money, go gamble it. Because like that's basically what you're telling him when you hand it over, no matter what words you use. Right. So it's situations like if you start dating someone who cheated on their partner to be with you, and then they cheat on you, you should not be surprised because they've already shown you who they are.
They are.
Right?
Yeah.
If someone is telling you secrets from other people, don't tell them your secrets. They've already shown you who they are. And yet people do that. It's like, oh, okay, I'm trusting you. Like, but you've heard her tell 17 secrets from 17 people, right?
Okay. Yes.
Right. So now when you do trust this way, the only time it feels like someone's broken your trust is when they do something that's from a place that you didn't know about. It's new information that you didn't have about them. But for the most part, you're just having this relationship with exactly who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
So
it makes life
trust.
easy.
So trust is within. It comes from you. It doesn't come from other people. It comes from you.
Yeah.
Like you are the one who makes the decision to trust them, although you know them or not.
Yeah.
And that changes. That is a shift of reality right there.
It is. Because now you're like, for me with my relationships, there's people I trust to have certain conversations with, people I trust to have my back in business, people I trust to have my back personally. And they're not all the same people because some person that I know has my back in business, I cannot trust to have my back personally because I've seen how they show up. And so now relationships are so much easier and better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because and it goes back to awareness. You're now aware of what is happening, what
Yeah.
the reality is, and
Yeah.
not a reality that you tell yourself.
Yeah. It
So,
requires dropping the filter of who you want people to be, right?
oh,
Because most people are in relationships with who they want the person to be, not with who the person is, right? And it's women do this a lot more than men. Men do it to some extent. But I found with a lot of women, they'll find a partner and he's close. He's close to being the ideal boyfriend. So now if I can just do some tweaks, except he doesn't want to be tweaked.
it's himself. Yes.
Yeah, and then you're just in this relationship where you're like, I'm so close, but I'm not really happy with who this person is, but I know I see the potential in him. I can get him there. And I'm like, no, there are guys out there that are already perfect matches for you. Go find them, right?
There is one that is already made.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that I'm gonna jump into something because
Mhm.
there is, especially with women, and everybody does the same, men also do it. There we get addicted to situations, people. We have a problem with getting addicted to the same patterns in
Mhm.
life.
Yeah.
So how can we first realize we're doing it?
Mhm.
And then if you can give us an example of this situation, and then how can we shift that reality so that we get away from it?
Okay. So first of all, if you see repeated patterns, you're addicted to it.
Okay.
So that's the first thing to notice. And you'll be using expressions like, oh, not again. Oh, this always happens. Like every time I do this, this happens. Those are, you're in an addictive cycle. And the first thing that happens is when that situation comes up, you get to be right. Like every time this happens, you're now right. And whenever you're right, you get a hit of dopamine. So it is a physical addiction. You're addicted to your dopamine hit whenever that situation comes up, good or bad.
Okay. This is like totally like making so much sense right now, because yes, you go like, I knew it. I knew it. I'm
Yep.
so good at this.
Yep.
But you're good at realizing that you have done the same thing 10, 12 times before.
Yep. And it's not just that you've done it before, it's that people around you do it because you make sure you attract the people that will do it so that they can keep doing it so you can keep being right.
Okay. So this reminds me of something that Wayne Dyer said. It's a story of a lady, I forgot her name. And she says the story of walking and falling on the hole. Have you heard it?
I haven't heard that one. Oh.
So I forgot the name of the lady that wrote it. They told her to write about her reality. And she said a story about her reality. So she said, okay, I'm going down the street and I see a hole. I fall in it.
Hmm.
Next week, I walk down the same street. I see the same hole. I know I fell there before and I still fall into it.
Hmm.
The third week or the third day, I think is the third, is days, no weeks. The third day, I walk down the same street. I know there's a hole coming.
Hmm.
I still fall into it.
Hmm.
Fourth day, I walk down the same street. I know there's going to be a hole. I absolutely know it. I don't want to fall in it, but I do.
Hmm.
No, the fourth day, I walk around it.
Oh, okay.
I walk around it. That's what she says. I walk around it so she doesn't fall in. Fifth day, I walk down another street.
Okay.
So that's a shift of reality. How many times are you going to fall into the same hole before you realize that you need to change?
And some people will always fall in the same hole because the fix they get, the chemical fix, is so satisfying that even though it annoys them or angers them consciously, it's worth it to them.
Wow.
And this is the crazy thing with realities, because you're going to see the world through your reality. And you can have 10 people in the same room, all have 10 different realities going on. And no one knows that it's different.
Mm-hmm.
One of the stories in How to Rewrite Reality is me having a conversation with this girl, these two girls. We were at a singles event. We're at a table, and there are six of us at the table. There's four guys and two girls. And when I first sat at there, I'm like, these are some cute girls, but I got to compete with three other guys, so this is going to be interesting. Except the three guys got into a conversation about sports, and I don't like sports. So it left me to have a conversation with the two girls. Right? So we're talking away, and then one of the girls says, the problem for girls dating is that there are twice as many single girls as there are single guys. So we have to keep competing to get the guys.
All
And I
right.
went, what?
There's
There's,
four of us
there,
here.
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I was just doing like in Toronto, there's 5 million people. There's no way there's, you know, 3.5 million guys and like and 1.5. So I said, no, like just by the math, there's as many guys as girls, unless someone's hoarding them all, which I know is not happening. There's going to be about as many single guys as single girls. And then she said, but look, even now, there's two of us talking to you. So if we're both interested in you, then we have to compete to get you because you're the only guy. And I looked at her and I said, there are three other guys at this table. And the expression in her face was like I broke her brain because she stopped seeing them to justify her story. They didn't exist for her
Oh,
until I
wow.
pointed them out again. And suddenly they were back in her reality. And she was like, oh, right? You're
They
going to
were
see.
just not the right guy.
It's not even that the right guy. In order to justify her story, she had to make them disappear, go out of her vision. And this is also where we talk about people's stories affect us. Not only do we learn from people, but I would guarantee that those guys decided to have a conversation because they were influenced by her in her story so that she could have a conversation, she and her friend could have a conversation with me so there'd be twice as many girls as guys to justify her reality. This is how it all works. There's this interplay going on. So as many of us as possible get to be right in our stories.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys probably walked away saying, we didn't really meet anyone interesting when there were two really interesting women at the table, but their story matched her story. So they started to talk to each other. She could be having her story of twice as many girls as guys, and everyone wins, except I was the odd man out because I don't get pulled into those stories.
Yes. So so actually it is very interesting how that is the best example of how we see reality,
Mhm.
because you're just saying to her, she was actually like, now that you're saying the story, she was actually scratching them off her list and making them disappear. And
Mhm.
then, yes, wow.
Yeah. And one of them
So,
could have been an amazing partner for her, but it doesn't match her story.
so she's never gonna find somebody because she's always gonna think that that there are no guys.
Yeah. I guarantee she will go to events where there's way more girls than guys just to prove the point. Right. So like, and she won't even
She
realize you're doing it. But then she's like, see, and she gets to be right over and over and over again.
Ah, so we are addicted to being right
Oh
because
yeah.
it produces
Nope.
dopamine.
Yep.
But what can we do? What is the opposite effect? What can we do in not the opposite effect, but what can we do to say this also causes dopamine and is different?
So that's the key is that you're going to be addicted to something. Your body's natural state is in a state of an addiction to something because it keeps you in a homeostasis, right? Your body doesn't like to fluctuate and go through all these different states. It wants to be basically in homeostasis with little things going on. So when you make the intention, this is what I'm going to be addicted to, then your body can switch from where it is to where you're sending it. So, for instance,
Okay.
let's say you are addicted to struggle. And no one's actually addicted to struggle, but they're addicted to people's reaction to their struggle. Oh my God, I see you working so hard, right? Keep going. I'm rooting for you. It feels like you're getting love. And your mind says, well, if I stop struggling, they're not going to say that. I'm not going to get the love. And so that's not a dopamine addiction. That is oxytocin and serotonin coming from because it's coming from the other people towards you. So there's other
Okay.
chemicals you get addicted to as well. Right? So
Oh
and so
my goodness.
your body and your mind say, well, if I start having a lot of success, I lose that. Where am I going to get it? And it'll come up with excuses. People are now going to get jealous. They're not going to be happy for you, right? And you'll end up alone. It's lonely at the top. So all these little things will run in your subconscious mind so that you stay in this place of struggle so you can get your addiction feed for love. So
Okay.
for me, that happened. That's where I was as well. I was struggling and I was getting all this because on top of having issues going on with my life, I had rheumatoid arthritis. So I was in pain and struggling, right? So I get
Yes.
lots of love, right? So,
Yes. Oh wow.
and
I do have also that. Just was diagnosed this year.
okay.
And the pain
So,
is terrible.
oh yeah, it was. I figured out how to get out of it. So now pain free. So it's wonderful.
Okay.
Uh, so one of the things I did was instead of buying what my subconscious was saying, I said, you know what? I'm going to hang out with people that are all about growth and success. So that when I have successes, they're like, way to go, Shiraz, right? We're cheering you on, you're supporting you. And then I get to support them in the same way. And when I got my mind used to that I can still get love for my successes rather than my struggles, my struggles started to go away and more successes started showing up. And
Yes.
then because I chose the right people and they're like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Whenever I had a success, I'm like, ooh, there's my fix. Except I know, and now I'm very conscious, I know I'm getting a fix. But I'm like, I love this fix. If I'm going to keep getting love every time I create more success, guess what I'm going to do? Create more success.
Yes. Hi, I'm very happy to know you are here watching our podcast today. It is an honor to be featuring so many entrepreneurs on the journeys of their inside voice, their accent that is not an accident. And we want to reach out more people like you who are creating a better world of diversity, inclusiveness, equity, and belonging. So please take a moment to hit the subscribe button below, like, and share to others. And even if you want to leave a comment, that'll be nice. Thank you for your support. And now back to the episode. Exactly. So the but you said something very important there. It's also we have to surround by the right people
Yes.
because the people that are around us telling us things, they're also telling us the stories and that affect us. And that's something else that you talk about in your book.
Yes, because you're going to find the people that match your stories. And if those are limiting stories, they're all going to have limiting stories. So you can all be happy together.
Okay. So it is also a way to another addiction is also to find and inform the wrong tribe. So you're calling all the time this
Yep.
to you.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I remember when I was in corporate at the lunchroom at the place I worked at, there was a competition going on at lunchtime, and they didn't even know it was going on. It was people sitting around the table talking about their kids, and you're like, you're not going to believe what my kid did, right? And then they tell the story, and then something had broken. It's like, oh, you think that's bad? Here, listen to this. And so they were trying to outdo each other with stories of struggle, right?
Okay.
And completely unaware, but I'm sitting there going, you guys are trying to create more struggle in your life so you can win at lunch hour. And
Ah,
you don't even realize you're doing it because everyone wanted to win that conversation. So I left. I went and watched funny videos at my desk rather than sit in the lunchroom and listen to all that.
yes. You know, you're touching a very good point there. I remind this moment remind me of something. Uh, Many years ago, I was part of a company that at lunchtime it was necessary for the team to have lunch together.
Mhm.
But I found it, I think I have said this before here, but I found it a little too much because you're with them all day working.
Mhm.
And then my lunchtime was either to call my husband or to read a book or to snooze in the car if I was tired, but to be with myself. I love being with myself. I just need some time for myself. And after a couple of months, I just decided not to do it anymore. And the
Mhm.
reason was because it was kind of like we are just sitting to complain about other people.
Yep,
And what am I gaining here?
exactly. And so you were with the wrong tribe. They were all with the quote right tribe for them because they love complaining. Right.
Yes.
And this is it. Look around and the people around you. Is everyone complaining? Is everyone struggling? And if they are, it's time to find new people to hang out with more. You don't have to just dump everyone. However, you want to start hanging out with more successful people, happier people, right? More hopeful people. And some of the people that you're hanging out with that will say, oh, that looks like a better choice. Can I do that too? And they'll come along with you. Others will be like, no, I don't like the crowd you're hanging out with because they're happy in their struggles. And they may be the ones you have to let go.
Ah,
Yeah.
that is very important. That is super important because knowing when to close the door and knowing when to just walk away and leave the door open.
Mhm.
You know, just I can come back. We are still friends. But again, to that story with my daughter, I mean, you don't have to be friends with just two or three people. You can be friends with everybody. And then another thing that I tell her is just pay attention, because people do things one time and then you can doubt, you know, you can create a doubt. Okay, just give them the right of being just one time that this happened. But if it will happen again, then you know.
Yeah.
And you that's when you decide, I'm going to close this door.
Yeah.
Because if that is not something that you want to be, it's not part of your core values. But then now again, how do we form those core values not without affecting our reality?
Oh, it's going to affect your reality. So,
Okay.
right. So this is one of the hardest things is when you want to create the success you want, when you want to create the relationships you want, even when you want to create the health you want, it's going to affect your reality. It's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect everything around you. And if where you are right now is too comfortable, and comfortable doesn't mean it's good, it's just you're used to it, then you won't want to change. And even if you start to change, you'll go into withdrawal because you're in a physical addiction and come back. So you
Mm,
have to treat this like you are breaking a drug addiction,
okay.
right? And so you're going to watch your reality start to change, and that's what you want, right?
All
When,
right.
when you're dead set on it, if you're not doing the right things, it will change in ways you don't want it to. If you
Okay.
are set on it, then it will change in ways you want it to. So, for instance, like when I made that decision, I'm going to hang out with better people and create more success, things just started going a lot better because it was my intention. Let's do this. However, with one of my clients, when she said she's ready for big change, I told her, no, you're not. I think this story is actually in How to Rewrite Reality. And she's like, no, I am. And I'm like, every time we talk about things that could create big change for you, you change the subject. Or you're like, I don't want to talk about that. And so she finally said, no, I'm ready for big change now. And I said, okay, if you're ready, we're going to move forward. But I want you to know there's no turning back. Once this
Okay.
starts, you have to go through it. And she said, yeah.
Mhm.
And she calls me back a week later and she goes, what the hell did you do to me? Right. And I said, what? What's going on? She goes, in the last week, I've gotten fired from my job. I'm being evicted from my apartment. And I broke up with my boyfriend. Right.
She's closing the stories that don't serve
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Because I said, did you like your job? She goes, no, you know, I hated my job. That's one of the things we were working on. I'm like, you don't have to worry about it now. And what about the apartment? Well, the landlord wasn't fixing things and it was starting to fall apart. I'm like, you don't have to live there anymore. And what about your boyfriend? Well, we were always fighting. Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And she's like,
Yes.
this is not what I wanted. I said, yeah, I know, but it's what you needed. Right. And so fast forward 5 years later, she's running her own company. She's making hundreds of $1,000s a year. Her business was ranked number 8 in Ontario in her category. She's won
Oh,
2 business awards 2 years in a row. And she's vacationing in exotic places. She would not be doing that if she held on to all the things she was holding on to.
okay.
So,
Wow. So I think that is another story that we tell ourselves, that we have to be with the one partner forever.
mhm.
And even though if it doesn't serve you, um, and there are things that we need to be okay with letting go
Yeah.
and understanding that, like accepting, creating awareness. That's awareness.
Yes. And it's not just our partners. It could be what we're doing. Like one thing I've found, especially in the spiritual realm, is people are looking for their purpose, right? And so if you discover that your purpose is to be a healer, for instance, that may not be your life's purpose. That may be your purpose in the moment. And you may be destined to be a healer for 20 years and then move on. But if you believe now that that's my purpose and it's 30 years and you're miserable still healing because you've locked in that purpose, it's not working for you. So what if you don't actually have a purpose other than to live life and be happy? And within that, you say, you know what, for these 10 years, I'm going to be a healer. And for these 10 years, I'm going to be a DJ. And for these 10 years, I'm going to be an astronaut. And you're staying in this place of happiness because it changes as you go through life. You don't have to have one purpose.
I heard somebody saying that there is a big, huge difference between your mission and your purpose.
Oh, okay.
When your mission is what you do to create abundance, because it comes easy to you, you're good at it, but your purpose might come from what you're doing in the mission, but might be something different. So you might be a healer, and that might be your purpose, but maybe your mission, while you know what you get to accomplish, it might be an engineer, like what you're saying, for the 21st years of your life.
Yeah.
And then you can shift and then realize that there is something else. So making sure that the mission and the purpose are not mixed is very important.
Yes.
And I loved when I heard that. And speaking of that, I would like to jump to something that is very important, because when we tell stories to ourselves, when others around us are telling stories, and we are creating who we are.
Yes.
But that's not who we really are. So how can we find ourselves and be authentic? And that is the title of one of your books, Finding You.
So for finding yourself, it's really being an acceptance of who you are and stripping away all the stories that you've been taught. And this is one of the things that scares a lot of people, because people think, I don't want to lose who I am. Who you are isn't who you really are. You need to lose who you are to find you, right? Because you is hidden under all this crap that's been taught to you. And one of the analogies I used to use was, imagine you're born and you're a car, and you can pick whatever car is your favorite. You're brand new, the gas tank is full, you're ready to go out on the road. But before that happens, you're sitting on the street and it starts to snow. And that snow is all the lessons you're being taught by people, right? Be safe, don't do this, fit in. It's a scary world out there. And the snow is piling and piling and piling and piling. And eventually you can't even see the car, right? So now you're 18, you're ready to go out and take on the world. Except what are you going to do? You can't even see yourself, right?
Yes.
You're not going anywhere. But the question is there anything wrong with you? Underneath all that snow, you're still you. You just believe that you're the car plus the snow. So when you start to uncover all that snow, all the limiting beliefs, all the crap you mean, all the stuff, then eventually what's left is you. And that's how you find you. It's by stripping away the crap.
So making sure that you get to the center of who you truly are.
Yeah. Because a lot of people don't even think they have a lot of value now, right? And they're trying hard to earn value. Except if you've ever held a newborn baby, you feel the value coming off that kid. There is so much of it. It's just that we get taught to cover it up.
Yes.
So when you start pulling it away and realize I am valuable, I was born valuable, right? I'm capable of amazing things. And you start stripping off all the reasons people told you you weren't, then that value starts to shine. And when that value shines, people will see it and they will immediately be pulled into your world. They will want to hang around with you. They will want to do business with you. They will even want to give you things. People will start paying to be in the room with you because of how much value you're showing when you get rid of all the stuff. So, and this is one
Exactly.
of, yeah, this is one of the things that we brainwash so much to do, because what you do does not give you value. What you do is is a way, just one way of expressing the value that's in you.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about having to do all these things in order to be valuable. What you want to focus on is, what can I do? How many different ways can I more powerfully express this value that's inside me so I can tap into
I am like, you left me without words.
it?
I love these because I believe everybody resonates with it. I think everyone wants to take off those layers and realize, oh, there was this person underneath all
Mhm.
this whole time. And many times, especially around women, you hear them saying, I just don't feel like I'm myself anymore.
Yep.
I'm doing all this. I'm being a mother. I'm being everybody's, like, I'm being everybody, but everybody's who everybody wants me to be, but I am not myself. I don't find myself anymore. So what would you say to that mom?
Start putting you first. Stop giving to like, and not stop completely, but most, especially mothers, are giving to their kids, to their husband, to like everyone. It's give, 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 give. Put you first. Your happiness, your health, your well-being comes first, and then comes everyone else, right? I mean, I know you love your kids, and on a scale of 1 to 100, you need to be 100. They could be 99, but you need to be 100. Right?
Okay.
And this is the thing, my entire business is helping people. And
Mm-hmm.
I always put myself first. And because I always put myself first, I am in the best position to help people. I'm never tired and exhausted and stuff because I'm like trying to give and give and give. However, the way I've set up my business, there are times where people say, I really need you. And I'll look and I'm like, yeah, because I'm not doing anything. I can take 10 minutes out and help you. Right. And it's not going to exhaust me because that's it. I put myself first. Right?
Exactly. And
And
and how do we put ourselves first?
how do you put yourselves first?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to stop worrying about what other people think of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing for so many people. Oh, I got to make sure they like me, or they're not jealous of me, or right. I don't do anything to offend them. When you're authentically being you and you're not intentionally trying to hurt anyone, then what you do doesn't matter. It's just you expressing yourself. If people get offended by them, that's their stories, their things they've been taught. They have to deal with that. Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So stop worrying about what other people think. Start having loving conversations with you. Right. Most people don't have loving conversations. You screw up and you go, "What idiot? Why did you do that? You should know better." You have these conversations. And instead of talking to yourself like that, talk to yourself like a 2-year-old just made a mistake. Because if you go around and you talk to a 2-year-old like you're an idiot, okay, we got other issues going on. But for the most part, when the 2-year-old makes a mistake and is hurt, you're like, you got this. Don't worry. Right? I love you. I'm going to be here for you. Let's just go try again. Like, you have these conversations. Talk to yourself like that. Right?
Okay.
It's,
So yes, loving yourself in a way that you are accepting.
Mhm.
Okay.
The other thing I've noticed is a lot of people get caught up in, you need to be punished. Right? So when we're young and we make a mistake, we get punished because our parents are trying to teach us moral lessons so that we can become good people. As an adult, if you make a mistake, that's the punishment. You don't need to then punish yourself and go, what the hell's wrong with you, you idiot? Like, you're double dipping at this point. The mistake is a punishment. Move on.
Mhm.
All right. But like, I'll see people, and one of my favorite examples is like, you're driving and you get on the freeway and you're heading east, and you're
Okay.
driving for 10 minutes and you realize, oh, I'm supposed to be going west. So physically, what you do is you get off the next exit, you get back on, and you go the other way. Metaphorically, what you do is you get off, you go back, and you get the tire iron. You get back in the car, you drive west, and you start hitting yourself with the tire iron. You idiot! You just cost yourself 20 minutes. What is wrong with you? Like, that's what we do to ourselves.
Yes, it has happened to me before. There is like a highway that
Mhm.
I always miss the same exit.
Mm.
And then a
Here,
couple
wait,
of
just before you continue, notice the story there. I always miss the
yeah,
same exit. So you get your dopamine fix when you hit it, when you miss it.
exactly. And then a couple of weeks ago, I said, you know what? This is probably a sign of the universe. I'm never gonna take that exit again.
Mhm.
And I started going around it. And guess what?
What?
This is you're gonna say, you see. Last when was it? Last Sunday, not this, 2 weeks ago. We were coming back, and without thinking, I took the exit.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, I took the exit. I took the exit. And then even my mom and my daughter were laughing because they're like, there she goes again. We're going to miss the exit. And I automatically just went and took the exit.
took the
I
exit.
saw it. So I'm like, did I get rid of a pattern there?
Mhm. Yeah. If you got rid of the affix to missing the exit and being right about it, now you can take the exit all the time.
Yes, I was like, because maybe I just don't have to take that exit anymore or something. Something in those lines. I
Yeah.
was like accepting that, okay, I took the wrong
Yeah.
exit or I missed it. And it's okay to miss the exit.
Yep. Congratulations.
Like unconsciously. And look at this. This is all of these things are unconscious,
Yes.
and we have unconscious bias
Yes.
about everything, about life, about people, about work, about what we're supposed to be doing, about how much we're supposed to be making.
Mhm.
And you were saying about the mistakes, the punishments. How about gratitude? Is there gratitude in there?
Yes. So gratitude, one of the other things people don't realize is you're addicted to a specific emotion.
Okay.
So if you're always frustrated, you're actually addicted to frustration. There's chemicals that flood your body for every individual emotion. So if you try to become grateful instead of frustrated, your body goes into withdrawal because it's missing the frustration chemicals. So you actually have to stay in gratitude long enough that your body becomes now addicted to the chemicals associated with gratitude. So gratitude is a high frequency emotion, and it's also one of the easiest to get into because there's so many gratitude tools out there, right? There's gratitude
Mm-hmm.
journals and affirmations and all these exercises you can use. So I recommend if you figure out what your default emotion is and it's not a positive one, start going to gratitude. And
Okay.
what I used to do was I would start every day and in the shower, because I like to be efficient, while I'm showering, I'd come up with 5 things to be grateful for, 5 different things every single day.
Okay.
And I did that for a while. And then I started noticing I would be bringing gratitude into different areas of my life. So something's on sale. Instead of going, oh my God, it's on sale, I'll be, oh, thank you. Thank you for that sale. Right. I would thank my car when I got out of it on a drive. Thank you for getting me there. And so I started to just become in this continuous, and I still am in this continuous state of gratitude for everything that's showing up in my life. And when
Okay.
you get addicted to that state of gratitude, you start to pull in more things to be grateful for. They just start showing up. And so now when happy surprises come up, like, oh, wait, thank you. Right. And I could be thanking God or the universe or a specific person, but it's thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's just throughout my day, there are so many thank yous. Right. And I didn't even realize the extent it had gotten to. But one day I was running errands and I was talking to my friend on the phone. And like 20 minutes into it, she's like, what is going on with you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, like, you were saying thank you for the thing that's on sale. You said thank you for someone opening the door. You said thank you because someone moved you to the front of the line. And it's not just you're saying thank you, you're getting all these little bonuses wherever you go. Like, what is that about? I'm like, that's just my life. Like, that's
Yes.
so
It's
that's how anyone can live that way when you make that
it,
decision.
and that is beautiful because I do have my gratitude journal. I have my intention cards, like it's gratitude cards basically,
Mhm.
but set up an intention of being grateful for something that says in the card. And I started doing the journal with my family for 30 days. So it's funny because my mom does not speak English. So I had to go English, English, Spanish, which was great.
Mm.
Um, and my mom started, like, my mom is older, right? She's 87 and she's like old school. And
Mhm.
she started acting differently.
Mm.
And everybody was like, kind of like in happy nine cloud
Yeah.
during that month. And I was like, this does shift your energy.
Yes.
I'm going to do it again now
Great.
in November. Thank you. Reminded me. I have it somewhere here.
Welcome.
It's right here. That's my gratitude journal. That pink one.
Okay.
Thank you. I am going to do that. So gratitude is very important because it raises up your energy level,
Mm.
and unconsciously you're shifting your reality.
Yes. And if for no other reason, if people want to, like I was saying, I don't want to do this gratitude, it attracts more things to be grateful for. It attracts money, it attracts relationships, it attracts opportunities. The more and more you stay in a default state of gratitude. Now, you won't be able to maintain it all the time because everyone's going to go through different emotions. But if that's the emotion you're in most of the day, your life is going to be amazing.
That is beautiful. So we talk about many things today that are surrounded in our story, the stories that we tell ourselves and how we show in life. We know that we are taught that some rules and parameters in life, and we have been framed to get to a point in your life where you are crossing. If you get to a point in your life when you are crossing these lines and these limits, then there is a switch that makes you shift your reality, and then make, or not shift your reality, but makes you like aware of something that is not real,
Yep.
and creates like that stopping point, and you stop yourself from continuing what you're doing. But creating simple intentions, being grateful, and being aware of the world around you will help you to control these not real stories. The people that are around you are telling you stories, and then you accepting these stories and accepting um, the 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 behavior around that situation is what is making you also addicted to having probably not good success in your life. If you change the people that surround you, or people that will make you feel, change those dopamine, that make you and give you a different story of acceptance towards success, then it will bring you forward
Yes.
in life.
Yeah.
Also, showing up authentic. But in order to do that, you need to take off the layers again. Make sure that the story that you're going to be telling is the story of yourself, and then finding that person who you really are. Your values are going to be still there, but you have to be careful with setting up a new story, right?
Yeah.
And then we have to stop worrying about what people are talking about or saying about us, stopping having unloving conversations to ourselves, criticizing, and be more accepting towards yourself. Stop the punishment, understand it and accept your mistakes, and do gratitude versus frustration.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a small summary of what we talk. And I love this conversation, and we're hitting the end of it. And I don't want to leave without giving you the opportunity to tell our audience where they can find you.
You can find me at energeticmagic.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shiraz. Is there a last thought that you would like to leave the audience with?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to be the happiest person in the room.
I love this. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. I love our time. And to you, our audience, thank you for listening to us today. Remember, you're a being of love that came to this world to love one another. Till next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Maritza.
Thank you. Hi, it's Maritza here. If you like this episode of My Accent is No Accident podcast and would like to listen more like this, subscribe wherever you're listening to it or watching it. Leave us a nice review and share with your friends, family, and network. Thanks for listening.